Story 1. Last year marked a significant juncture in my living arrangements as my roommate opted to relocate from the residence we had jointly occupied for the past 4 years. At that point, both of us had advanced in our professional careers, securing more lucrative employment opportunities. The house we inhabited, while functional, was far from optimal, prompting the realization that one of us would eventually seek alternative living arrangements. Following my roommate's departure, I found myself exploiting the additional space within the house, and consequently decided to extend my stay for another year or two. During this period, in the early days of December, our geographical locale succumbed to a week-long barrage of relentless snowstorms. In response to the adverse weather conditions, my workplace extended the option to work remotely for a few days. Eager to avoid the harsh elements, I seized this opportunity, transforming my erstwhile roommate's bedroom into a makeshift office space. It was during one such work day that an unexpected event unfolded. A persistent knock at the front door prompted me to vacate my workspace and investigate. Upon opening the door, a man clad in a substantial winter jacket stood before me. Not appearing to be affiliated with any occupation, he conveyed his apologies for the interruption and explained that his vehicle had become ensnared in the snow alongside the road adjacent to my dwelling. Lamenting the absence of a mobile phone, he sought my assistance in borrowing mine. While harboring initial skepticism, I instructed him to wait momentarily, close the door, and traverse to the other side of the house. Gazing out of a window, I observed a small SUV ensnared in a snowbank by the roadside. Convinced of the legitimacy of his predicament, I adorned myself with a jacket, donned shoes, and returned to the front door. Still maintaining a degree of skepticism, I stood on the porch as he utilized my phone to contact his brother. Following the brief call, he expressed gratitude and departed. As the day progressed, I worked diligently until around 7 in the evening, when I deemed it an opportune moment to conclude my professional responsibilities. It was during this juncture that recollections of the earlier encounter prompted me to check on the man and his stranded vehicle. To my surprise, the car remained in its stationary state, and I could discern the man within, engaging in various activities. Puzzled by the prolonged duration of his presence, approaching 3 hours, I speculated that he might be awaiting the arrival of his brother. Opting to temporarily disregard the situation, I proceeded to prepare dinner, indulged in some television, and maintained wakefulness until approximately 9:30. At that point, curiosity compelled me to revisit the scene. To my astonishment, the car was still present, but the man had vanished from its confines. Feeling an unsettling sense of disquiet, I promptly contacted the authorities. Upon their arrival, law enforcement officers noted multiple sets of shoe prints in the snow, obscured by the ongoing storm. They recorded the license plate details of the car and unearthed a photograph of the owner, unmistakably the same individual I had assisted earlier. Despite their vigilance, the man never reappeared. The perplexing events of that night, coupled with the subsequent loud and abrupt banging on my front door, left me in a state of heightened fear and apprehension. Whether the man was desperately seeking assistance or if there existed a more sinister motive remains a conundrum. Numerous unanswered questions persist, casting a veil of uncertainty over the events of that unsettling night, the current whereabouts of the man, and the enigmatic circumstances surrounding his initial plea for help. Story 2. In the wintry expanse of January, I found myself immersing into a unique experience by renting a cabin nestled alongside an ice fishing lake. This particular cabin, modest in its amenities yet rich in rustic charm, was tailored for those, like me, who relish the idea of spending serene moments by the lake, engaged in the pursuit of fishing or, more specifically, ice fishing. Whether I embarked on these ventures accompanied by a friend or ventured solo, the cabin had been a haven offering solace amidst the tranquility of the wintry landscape. My agenda for this retreat spanned 3 leisurely days, devoid of concrete plans but centered around the sheer enjoyment of the natural surroundings. Upon my arrival, I seamlessly settled into the cozy single-room cabin where every essential was within arm's reach. A warm cup of coffee, the crackling fireplace, and the ambiance of the cabin allowed me to unwind, leading me to drift into an early slumber. As dawn painted the sky, I roused myself at 7 a.m., ready to embark on a short, picturesque journey through a snow-laden, forested path to reach the lake. My intention was clear: to set up my fishing gear and relish the therapeutic act of fishing. Even as the snowfall intensified and the winds picked up their wintry symphony. After a few serene hours on the lake, with my senses heightened by the pristine surroundings, I decided to retreat as the weather began to take a turn for the worse. The walk back along the path to the cabin, however, bore an unexpected revelation. Amidst my own footprints, a secondary set of prints emerged, leading up to the lake's edge before retracing their steps toward the cabin. A disconcerting notion took root. Someone might have been tailing me, perhaps observing my activities from the shadows. The decision to trace these footprints into the woods was both fueled by curiosity and tinged with caution. Returning to the cabin, with its fireplace offering a comforting glow, I grappled with the enigma of the footprints and the possibility of an uninvited presence in this remote, snow-laden wilderness. As night enveloped the surroundings, a faint symphony of movements outside disrupted the solitude, a gentle crunching of snow in a familiar rhythmic pattern. Drawing near the window, I beheld the silhouette of a figure cloaked in thick winter attire, traversing towards the cabin. Features obscured, they maintained an elusive identity. Upon reaching the path, the figure abruptly altered course, heading directly for the cabin. Alarmed, I sought refuge out of view, observing as they approached the window and attempted to open it. A nearby knife became a makeshift safeguard, yet after a series of futile attempts, the mysterious intruder vanished into the snowy woods. As I watched their figure dissipate into the night, a sense of urgency enveloped me. Swiftly, I packed my belongings and retreated in my car, leaving behind the cabin and its mysterious visitor. The identity and motivations of this enigmatic stranger remain shrouded in uncertainty. Nevertheless, the deliberate actions that unfolded that night hinted at a potentially sinister intent. Grateful for my unscathed departure, the unsettling events of that wintry night echo with the realization that I might have narrowly evaded a perilous encounter, leaving an indelible mark on this chilling narrative. Story 3. In the wintry depths of January 2020, I, at the tender age of 18, embarked on a winter break adventure that would unravel into an unnerving tale. Seeking to break free from the clutches of boredom and perhaps accrue a few extra $100 weekly, I enlisted myself in the ranks of DoorDash. My decision was partly fueled by the contagious enthusiasm of friends who, like me, were exploring the realms of the gig economy. Despite the financial comfort of being a high school student living with my parents, the allure of having something purposeful to do and a bit of disposable income was undeniably tempting. The initial DoorDash forays were uneventful, marked by the rhythmic ebb and flow of orders. However, as the second week unfolded, a newfound zeal gripped me. The prospect of making money for the first time was exhilarating, and my friends, equally buoyant, imparted a tip. On days marred by bad weather, earnings soared. Intrigued by this potential windfall, I decided to venture into the frosty night. For the first hour, I casually FaceTimed with a fellow DoorDasher, the camaraderie adding a layer of enjoyment to the experience. However, as the clock struck 8 p.m., my friend concluded his night, leaving me with the freedom to navigate the snowy terrain as I pleased. By 10 hours, a sense of restlessness crept in. Opting for one more delivery, I grabbed the bag, hopped into my car, and traversed the snowy landscape to reach a nondescript neighborhood. The street I found myself on was lined with unassuming houses, now cloaked in a pristine layer of snow that made discerning house numbers a challenge. Undeterred, I persevered until I reached the specified address, a two-story suburban home still adorned with lingering Christmas lights. Parking with my hazard lights on, I noticed an oddity. The front door was slightly ajar. A strange sight in the midst of a winter night, yet I attributed it to the convenience of the homeowner. Pushing the door a bit further, I slid the delivery bag inside and prepared to capture the customary confirmation picture. It was at this juncture that a woman's voice echoed from within, inquiring if I was the designated delivery person. Startled but not wanting to seem impolite, I confirmed the delivery and, without much contemplation, pushed the door open as she requested. As I stepped inside, however, a disconcerting realization unfurled. A shadow on the wall failed to synchronize with the woman's movements. Undeterred, she beckoned me to bring the bag down the hallway to her. The unnaturally static shadow hinted at another presence lurking in the shadows. Panic seized me, prompting a swift retreat. Silently placing the bag down, I took a few steps back and hastily exited the house. As I stumbled into my car, a glance backward revealed a large man approaching through the front window. Urgency fueled my drive to a nearby gas station, where I sought refuge to collect my thoughts. Though I reported the incident to the police, the woman vehemently denied anyone else's presence in the house. Lacking tangible evidence, the officers were regrettably unable to pursue further action. The motives behind the attempted ruse to lure me inside the house remain enshrouded in mystery. Reflecting on this harrowing experience, I can't help but acknowledge that a moment of hesitation likely spared me from untold peril, unraveling a tale that blends the mundane with the macabre in the snowy expanse of that unforgettable winter night.